to South Harmon. Welcome to South Harmon. Hey, welcome to South Harmon. We glad you here today. Another AMA. Ask me anything. Super chat is cool if you wanna pay to play. Like and subscribe, that's what we really appreciate. Let me introduce you to the tear down king. Mike McNutted, ask your questions, he'll answer anything. ATM, you know Adam put them graphics on the screen. Glad you tapped in now, stay tapped in for the team. Hey, everything is posted. Go follow the socials. South Harmon FF tag us if we get noticed. Welcome to South Harmon, we glad you here today. Welcome to South Harmon, we glad you here today. Another AMA. Welcome to South Harmon, we glad you here today.
What's good, everybody? Wednesday night AMA. We are back. We're starting, unlike Bryce Young.
We haven't been pulled just yet.
Look at this baby.
Can't promise for how long the rains last, buddy, but I can tell you we're still in the center.
See, there won't be any confusion about how much vodka Mike has tonight.
Oh, okay. You just starting right now?
Let's go, buddy.
Look at you.
It's here.
That's the oil. Okay.
It's here.
Yeah. You were
6 bottles.
6 bottles. You were really digging that at the expo. You get to bring a little bit of Quentin back home, huh?
I got a new fave too. I got to figure out how to get it. The one T-Rock gave me was barrel finished, Adam.
You really dig that, right?
Just a touch better. It's just a touch better. But it's pretty good too.
We're gonna start growing it back out, Chase. You know, it's like I don't know, something about fall, like the change a little bit in weather. I'm just ready to get the beard back. You know, not that it's gone, but like I want to grow it out a little more. You know,
you don't want your face to get cold.
Yeah, that's for sure. You know, it's weird, right? When your face is cold, no one wants that. Should I trade a?
But if you do want your face cold,
I like that.
There's this thing called Manscaped. Or maybe you just want to look not homeless, which I look homeless.
Well, now all right.
I look like a homeless guy.
Now you're trying to like lean into the Bryce Young, debacle and make it personal. You don't look homeless, all right? You look like you got Mike. You know what homeless people don't look like? A guy with 2 chains on. Okay.
No, I look like a homeless guy who robbed somebody else and ate all this Taco Bell and stole his chains.
Oh, you're one of those guys that robs the store and then comes back in with the chains on, huh?
What? I've had these the whole time.
Y'all didn't see me. You don't know who I got shades on. You don't know who I was here.
Never seen me before. Don't know what you're talking about.
Promo code SHFF20. I'll say my guy Kyle. Shout out to Kyle. I'm in the league with him, and he sent me a picture of the box, the packaging. He got one of these kits, and not that I don't have the stuff, Mike, but it's like, man, the product they put together. I'll tell you what, we needed that to dress up shit quite a bit, buddy. Like that's just. It's pristine, you know. It dresses us up so much. Mike is muted, and now we're zoomed in.
I had to zoom in for this special one.
Okay.
By the way, big shout out to Club Fantasy and my boy Josh Hudson.
What up, Josh?
What else came?
Oh wow. Hold on, who is that though?
Jason motherfucking Kelsey.
All right, that's actually pretty sick.
Josh is such a baller too. He wrote me a nice handwritten card.
He wrote you a handwritten card?
Exactly. People don't do that shit anymore. I take the time to appreciate it. A lot of really sweet words from our good friend, Club Fantasy, my brother. Josh
this time, he actually using the word sincerely, not like keep trade cut, for the record.
Yeah, sincerely. Sincerely, good friends. Good friends. No jest there. But yeah, Adam, I gotta figure out where I'm gonna put this Kelsey jersey, man. It's gotta go up, and I ain't giving it away. You guys can pry it out of my cold fucking dead hands. Boy.
Mike. I think you know what's crazy is like Kelsey's really high up there in jersey sales, given the fact that he retired. Actually, so
he's not even playing. Still like kicking other people's asses.
So
still playing. Love it.
Getting the fact that you have the signature on that thing, man. That's a hot commodity.
He's saying like resale market.
No, well, that's not even consideration for you. I would hope.
No, it's not.
We don't. we're willing to kind of play ball to any level, but there's certain things where we're like, I'm going to cut that off. No, that's pretty sick. I hope that it's not at. It's probably going to be at JSN's disposal, even though he had 16 targets last week.
You think?
I have a feeling. I just got a feeling. I got a gut feeling.
Maybe. No, we'll see. You keep putting up 16 targets, he could stay.
You know what's crazy? I literally just got back from New York, and we were talking about how week 1 and week 2 are so different. Where week 1. For example, if we flip-flop this, okay, if Xavier Worthy had week 1 and week 2, all right, and JSN had week 1, for his week 1, he had 12 and 16 for over 100, the noise would be deafening for, JSN truthers would be so back. Not that they're not, but, it was the quietest performance in week 2 as far as movement goes in Dynasty for a year 2 player. Right? It's actually kind of insane to think about.
It is nuts. You're right. Because it didn't happen with all that bated anticipation, right? You had the wah, wah, wah. Oh, man, same shit, different year. Everybody's flaccid.
I mean, I wanted it's been a fun ride, I'll just tell you that, the last 48. But Money Moves is done. It will be out tomorrow. It's been I've been really combing over these Keep Trade cuts. Speaking of our friends there, we were, not the same as Jason, but you know what we mean, right? The movement on JSN relative to last week, it's what? Y'all just already wrote him off. It doesn't. He can't fix it, can he? There's nothing he can do.
He's up to 21, I guess.
Mike, I'll tell you though, I don't want to spoil the show that's coming out tomorrow. So he's not up at the level of let's just say other people, okay?
Other people. Other young wide receivers.
I mean, I'm not acting like he didn't move up, but it's up 19, Mike. It's
stuff.
Okay, can I give you some context?
Mm-hmm.
Up 24 after 2 targets last week, and Malik Willis at quarterback is Jaden Reed.
Okay.
Up 70 is I think you might have a feeling who that would be. That one, I get it. J-Mo, right? He's proven the whole world wrong.
They're so back, man. The J-Mo truthers are back in full force.
I mean,
maybe rightfully so, too, actually.
No, I mean, listen, there's a lot that's gone on. We're going to get into Bryce. It's actually a good segue with J-Mo. But before I do that, I just, Rashid Shaheed, up 77. Chris Godwin is in the... When you get to that age, you're in the solidified tier. You're basically in cement, where if you fucking do everything you can in your power to move it at all, it's dried up to the point you don't move very much. He's up 30 spots. Now,
I saw my boy Liebert make a trade with Shaheed.
Really? What was it? Okay.
Shaheed and some other okay player for Bo Nix.
Whoa.
Tell me 3 weeks ago that fucking gets done.
Well, no.
No fucking chance.
Rashid Shaheed, I'll say too, obviously in Dynasty quite a bit higher. So he's inside the top 40. He's ahead of Diggs. Just
what? What?
Don't, if that alarms you, just give me about 24 hours.
What the hell?
What the hell? Yeah, he's ahead of Calvin Ridley.
Oh man, that's rough.
But no, I mean, so that the point there is that if you think that's bad, Mike, the redraft crowd for Shaheed is starting to get spicy.
It's all them Scott Fish bowlers.
Well,
that's what's happening.
That is, you know what's crazy is I feel like actually the weird part is I have to explain to people that what you're seeing right now with Shaheed is nothing compared to what's happening in the Scott Fish Bowl. He's about to destroy the whole league.
It's great. I love it.
But let's with J-Mo, right?
Yep.
J-Mo and QJ. J-Mo to me right now, more so than QJ even, is just I'm ready to kind of wave the white flag, which I wasn't planning to wave at all a lot earlier. I'm ready to kind of at least tap out to the point where I was ready to call him dead. We called him dead.
We did.
And
you advocated us dropping him in our co-managed league.
I mean, Mike, here's the thing. What I knew then and what I know now, I still would have done. You couldn't have got me off that in the offseason. You couldn't have.
Yes. That's
so true. Sometimes you have to see something like this to be like, okay. But here's the weird part. J-Mo with his volume is that's why I'm ready to tap out so quickly. Like if it was just QJ where he had 2 touchdowns last week, five targets, 6 targets. QJ, I still want to see more from, and I think he's actually going to be fine, but I think the offense is not going to lend a lot of upside personally. JMO right now is fucking. I think could be a potential problem for San Laporta as far as being the elite tight end if this type of volume stays. So all that to say though, right? How much a problem as far as people are valuing Sam Laporta, Mike, as a positional difference maker. For the tight end position, we've been telling you for a while is not really that relevant as far as winning anyway. Mm-hmm. So, but if he's not going to get, if JMO's going to eat into his target volume, which currently it has, he's already having a hard enough time separating from the pack as it is. I mean, yep. So all that to say though, right? We're 3 weeks in, and I don't want to get over. I don't want to overinflate any type of information this early yet, but the Bryce Young thing is a different conversation because, Mike, what the fuck just happened, buddy?
Carolina, huh?
I mean,
let's first talk about it from an NFL standpoint, and then we'll talk about it from the dynasty lens.
Sure.
Redraft, RIP, you're fucked.
Yeah, I mean, redraft is to the wire. He's to the wire even in Superflex, right?
Yeah, like redraft Superflex, like that's in redraft 1 QB. That wasn't a fucking thing.
He shouldn't have been owned, right?
It shouldn't have been fucking owned anyways. But in Superflex now, like that's dead. But let's talk about it from the NFL standpoint. I mean, we're 2 games past Josh Rosen. That's what just happened.
Well. And the difference, the level of difference there is the crazy part, right? When you think about the context to the NFL side, like Rosen got killed because they went to Kyler. That's a completely different conversation because it's like, all right, we're not invested. We're not going to continue to invest in this bad investment that they said, right? Like Bryce is the same conversation, but Mike, with Bryce, there's not a Kyler that there's their new franchise quarterback. They have the
Red Rifle.
The reality of whatever the hell you want to call him, Mr. September, the Red Rifle, all the bullshit. This is a bridge quarterback, and they know it. They even if they go up there and lie, every single one of them, they know for a fact that this is nothing other than just pulling the plug on Bryce Young. This has nothing to do with Andy Dalton other than they're going to tell you he's in a better position to win this year. That's probably actually potentially true because it's been horrible. Right? It can't get worse, but he's not a solution for them at the quarterback position. This is a guy they just traded every bit they had to get at 1, and it was a failed experiment as fast as you could be. It's as fast as you could be, at least. That's what they're saying out loud.
Yeah, it's not a Kyler situation. So, I mean, you're right. There's no elite talent behind him that's pushing for his job, that they have a thing. It is a new coaching staff. It's still the same old dog shit owner. Seems to be the same old Carolina Panthers that we know. From an NFL standpoint, it makes zero sense to me, Adam, because it's not like you're developing some young guy for the future.
Right.
You had a new coaching staff. You had fucking all off season to get the guy that they invested the number 1 pick and all these assets into fucking ready for the season, right? Ready for the season. And they didn't. They just didn't. Is he playing shitty? Yes, absolutely. By all accounts, the offensive line's playing well. The surrounding cast is playing well. Defense is dog shit, but Bryce Young is really playing like dog shit. So part of me wants to believe, Adam, this is like the old school coaching mentality. You fuck up, I take your job away for a couple weeks, and then I give you the keys back. You know, kind of like how you teach a teenager.
So this is like pulling a kid after a bad shot. Yeah, you're saying, really, right?
About 14 years for you, buddy. You'll be in the same spot. You'll understand that sometimes you got to ground them from the car. And they're going to hate it, and you're going to be the worst person in the entire world. But, a couple weeks, and you keep your ass at home, and you just sit here and you wallow, and hopefully when you come out of your room, you'll be a new and improved person.
Yeah.
So that's the logic I want to believe. But there's a really good possibility, Adam, that this is a forever move for the Carolina Panthers. Like, Bryce is going to be so fucking distraught and ruined after this. This is like Zach Wilson in Carolina, Zach Wilson of the South.
Well, there's a few things about it that I think I think let me just say this, a few things before we get to that, because how do I put this, man? Okay, if you have this situation, this culture is clearly awful that they have over there, right? Like, you don't have even I didn't really hear like strong conversations with players after the games with like a lot of there's not been a lot of defending in the locker room internally, it felt like, anyway, of Bryce, right? Like there's not a this culture, you can tell, is fragile. And the reason I think that's important is like Andy Dalton's a veteran enough, Mike, to probably outperform what Bryce has done the last 2 weeks. It's not going to be hard to do, frankly. He's not going to be the franchise quarterback moving forward. Even if he is the quarterback for next season, that's not their long-term solution. The problem is, like, if you have this idea of we're going to go back to him, how do you can't, it's not like, okay, I know for sure with my kid in 2 weeks. Now, I like that example. I think it's a good one. But the difference in most other scenarios is, like, I know I'll put, like, if you get pulled for a bad shot, all right, I know for a fact we're going to go back to you in a couple minutes, right? Like, I'm just let you sit down and think about that for a minute. If Andy Dalton fucks around and win a game, buddy, like, you can't control you can't control the, like, the variables here at all, right? Like, if a lot of these pass catching weapons, they just invested in Leggett. He had 0 catches last week. He goes out there, has 6-7 catches, a touchdown. They win a game they're not supposed to win. Mike, even if that was your plan, buddy, I mean, all of a sudden, the plans of men are many, Mike, but what happens is not always the same thing. And I think the reality here is, even if there's a part of them that knows that they could go back to Bryce, that's only in a scenario where it doesn't work with Andy Dalton. I think they're probably fearful for their jobs. I think the culture from the top down is terrible over there. So they're doing this rashly. But also, Mike, I honestly wonder this. Like, for this move to happen after week 2, like, how much animosity must these two, like the quarterback, Bryce Young, and the coaching staff have? Like, that... the vibes have to be at such a horrible fucking rate for this to be in consideration this early, no matter how bad the games were.
Yeah. Must have been really bad. Maybe he's a locker room, like, just a kind of a diva, or no accountability. You know, I as an Eagles fan, I heard this rumors coming out, and mind you, I'm not in Philadelphia. I'm not in that fucking locker room, and I chose not to believe it at the time, but there was a very split locker room on Carson Wentz, even after Nick Foles was long gone, which also then led into the Jalen Hurts becoming the quarterback forever now. Maybe he's that kind of dude, right? Just doesn't take accountability for his dog shit, puts blame on other people, and that'll rub you the wrong fucking way. It'll rub you the wrong way, and you lose the locker room. What'll be interesting to me is, I guess we won't ever find this out until if they go back to him. How about that? How about I say if they go back to him? But it's interesting to me because I think there would be a few teams out there interested in trading for Bryce Young. So if this was really a permanent, instead of just a punishment type move, is there a possibility he gets dealt to Vegas, Miami, as the insurance policy for Tua?
I think the problem is, while they did make this rash move, I also... Again, I'm talking about bad culture and not understanding and being realistic about a lot of things. Like, do you know what kind of low balls they're going to get, Mike? The low balls are going to feel like if you're in a league with a bunch of children and sleeper, right? That's where they're going to start. And people that aren't serious, people that do these type of things, Mike, talk about the level of investment they made in Bryce. Literally, we're talking about this in August of last year, right? Before we see him play. How this is pot committed as you can possibly be.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike, you make these type of quick decisions the other way. You telling me that Tepper doesn't have a massive temper? You telling me he's got a level head like this? Come on. This guy's fucking. The offers are going to be so bad that he's probably going to almost like guys with money that he has everything he wants, he gets. He's basically a rich, stubborn fucking child, Mike. He's just gonna stop dealing with people. He's gonna say, no, fuck it, no, we're not trading him. He's worth more than that. Okay.
Once upon a time, we used to think Al Davis and Jerry Jones were the worst owners in football, and R.I.P. Al Davis, and Jerry Jones is still kicking. And this guy, holy shit! I mean, all right, let's just say worst owners as far as running a franchise officially. Because Dan Snyder was fucking garbage a garbage human being, a garbage owner, but a lot of his shit didn't come out till like after the fact. At least he was good at hiding it. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, that's for sure. Well, the thing is, as the game evolves, Mike, I mean, it goes the other way too. The dipshits, you know, the shitheads, if you will, they also evolve. They become. Well, we got a super chat, so pause the conversation. We'll get back to Bryce just like the Panthers might. Okay, Mike, what do you think here, buddy? So let's talk about this. We have super chat. Paul's check. Rich, I'm terrified. Garrett Wilson, wide receiver 2.
Oh, it's a double. One for each dollar.
Canadian. A pulse on each one. I was like, wait a minute, is this a trade offer? Okay, this makes sense now.
One for each, too.
Got it.
One for each. Please, I want more people to be terrified of Anthony Richardson, Adam. I do. Bad games happen, man. Fucking dude still outscored Josh Allen. I don't see anybody coming in here being like, I'm terrified of Josh Allen in this offense.
Well, I guess here's the thing. The A-Rich experience was always going to be this. When I was telling everybody like A-Rich has the upside of unmatched, you can go back and check it for the record. You won't hear me tell you that there is not without risk as far as he's going to be a great passer. He's going to look amazing. Like he's not as refined, I believe, at this point in his career as like Cam Newton was. But do you know how many times Cam Newton, after having maybe 2-3 bad weeks in a row, this type of fear was instruct into people? And this was when, at that point, the rushing like competitors that he had was few and far between, right? Mm-hmm. A-Rich in week 1, the problem is, again, think about week 1 and week 2. This is a perfect discussion about what I talked about with JSN. Like, people watched in week 1, not only did he perform well, but they watched a guy that they're worried about his arm throw a fucking, I mean, one of the best balls you'll ever see, frankly.
Sorry. Call it what it is.
So that now,
call it what it is, a piss missile.
I was going to call it a piss missile, but it wasn't, because it was a moonshot too. It was a piss missile moonshot. Like, I don't know how to describe that other than it was outrageously. There's maybe two. I think there's probably 2 other quarterbacks that can make that in this league. Frankly, Mahomes and Allen. I don't know if anyone else is making that throw. Period.
Joe Milton.
Fine, not a starting NFL quarterback.
Okay,
but Mike, if it was the inverse though. Do you know what the level of panic for A-Rich would have been if he played if that Green Bay game happened in week 1?
Mm-hmm. Even higher.
So to the Paul's checkpoint, take that as with what you will. What it's supposed to mean is this. It's going to be a roller coaster of ups and downs that are, again, like his upside, unmatched. He's going to have – this is a raw – I don't know. Some people really take offense to that word of he's raw. He's not that raw. He just hasn't had reps. He's raw. I'm sorry. That's the same fucking thing. It's the same. Yeah. It's a synonym of each other, honestly. Mm-hmm. He still is going to develop it. He still is going to be great for fantasy. If you're telling me that's a bad game, Mike, which it was horrible. If that's what the fantasy floor is for him, I mean, you don't love seeing that because of, honestly, with Fields and then honestly with Bryce, you're starting to see like that's probably what scares you possibly too. I'm not on A-Rich. I'm not terrified. Okay. Garrett Wilson, though, I think is becoming, by the week, a little bit different for me. I'm not going to say I'm terrified, but I'm beginning to question it. When people start telling you the same story over and over again, but nothing changes, Mike, it's beginning to make me think that why should I listen anymore?
That's fair. That's fair, man.
I have less concern with A-Rich than I do with Garrett Wilson.
Far less.
Yeah, I mean it's.
Now I assume the Garrett Wilson part is he a wide receiver 2, not the wide receiver 2? Because the answer to the wide receiver 2 is fuck no. Did you watch football?
Maybe the New York Football Jets trade for Bryce, Mike. Maybe Rodgers is cooked.
I think if you put Garrett Wilson more in how we valued Devontae Smith and Chris Olave, or Devontae Smith, Chris Olave, Drake London, like those kind of dudes for years, and instead of I wanted him to be top 6, top 5, like push for that, and I don't think it's gonna fucking happen, man. I don't think this offense with a older, coming off an Achilles Aaron Rodgers is capable of that. Like, I just really don't think they are. I think this is a Breece Hall, Braylon Allen team with a new and improved offensive line, and Aaron Rodgers just is going to be more of that kind of like, remember Peyton Manning's last year? Kind of the game manager, with more arm talent, okay?
Sure.
with the ability to throw the ball
Peyton's
a little bit
last
better.
year, the injury got so real, it was fucking bad.
Yeah. I think that's more what you're in line for. So Garrett Wilson as a wide receiver too, that's probably where our expectations should actually be. But hey, Rich, I'm not panicked at all. And one of the things I was looking up is what Josh Allen was doing in his second year, Adam. A lot of up and down.
Yeah, well, if you remember Josh Allen, the crazy part about him and why I think week 2, he's played so long and so well at the top that I think there's you're not going to see people panic. I'm not saying that they should, but what took place for Josh Allen to really unlock him as a passer? It's honestly crazy to think about this, but it's literally the trade for Stephon Diggs. That next year, I'm not saying he didn't develop and other things didn't happen too, but that was.
I would say that was most of it. To be honest.
Well, I agree. There's going to be some haters out there that don't want to hear this. All right, but I'm
okay.
Prefacing for them that I'm not telling you that he didn't develop, but I'm telling you what clear as day that you can't call coincidence is that you get him an alpha, a guy that can separate, and holy shit, like this is a different island. This is a different offense. The playoffs prior to that, Mike, I remember vividly, like, ooh, this is scary territory for him, right? As far as a passer goes. I'm not worried about it, Rich, honestly, man. Like, I think there's going to be some really rough looking games in fantasy in the NFL, and I don't that shouldn't concern you, or you shouldn't be not expecting it, I guess. Penrose is the way I'm viewing it personally.
Josh Allen in his second year had a myriad of QB 3 weeks.
Sure.
Right? Or far back end QB 2 weeks. So, I mean, your up and downs are going to come, and then mixed in there, you have, number 1, number 5, 6, 7. I expect a lot of the same thing from A-Rich. At the end of the day, though, if you're just like a points per game whore, Josh Allen was a QB1 in his second year, scoring 18 fantasy points per game. If you told me A-Rich did that, perfectly fine in his second year. I actually think his would be a little bit better.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to like the A-Rich thing, Penrose or anybody else, if you want like specific discussion, follow up, I'll do it. But I don't know how to be more clear about this. I'm not there at all with him. Garrett Wilson, I think this is the thing with Garrett Wilson. What makes you know this? So what made Garrett Wilson, in his rookie season and then last year too, especially, the one that's separated from that 22 class in the pack?
All we were waiting for was a quarterback.
And the reason is targets are earned. So a dude that is getting that many targets and finishing that poorly, it just doesn't. It's maniacal. It's nonsense. It doesn't exist. That's what made him different. But no one else in that class, or fucking hardly anyone in the NFL, period, is earned targets that Garrett Wilson was earning in those first 2 years. So one thing with Garrett Wilson to me is still we don't have enough of a sample size for me to feel the level of panic that I think some people might be, but I'm definitely concerned because week 1, 11 targets. Like if you're telling me that middle's out in the range here right now, actually target wise, coming off of a game we only had 6, he's tied with CD for targets. So he still could end up being an elite target earner, and that, even though Rodgers is not going to maybe unlock him, could put him closer to a different tier than those other guys. The point is though, unless Rodgers is actually a efficient quarterback and also giving volume to Garrett Wilson, whether you like it or not, it probably isn't going to unlock him.
Yep. I think with Garrett Wilson, too, one more thing that I'll throw in at him, too. It's the first 2 weeks. Wild shit happens in the first 2 weeks.
Yep.
I mean, you need to probably lower your expectations just a little bit, but I'm not going to go out and panic sell all my Garrett Wilson because it's done, it's over with, Listen,
no.
He faced Charvarius Ward and L'Jarius Sneed in back-to-back weeks. Two really good plus corners as the really only option in the passing game outside of Breece Hall. So
sure. And Mike, I mean, if
he comes out week 3 against a lesser cornerback and fucking toasts him and puts up, what we saw from Malik Nabers this past week, everybody's right fucking back in. All right, and you'll be the asshole who's like, I took him first and a second for him. Fuck.
Two things for me, if I was going to go on the narrative of like I'm out here explaining and trying to say I'm not without nerves. Like there's definitely a little bit antsy. All right, but that said, what do we know? Rodgers is coming off a serious injury, but also lately in his career, this has been a slow starter. Like the RELAX, right? This is something that we've heard before, right? Like, Mike, they played San Fran. This guy didn't play football for a year. He's 40-1, and they played the Niners. I mean, that's a lot of fun, right?
Just
go ahead.
I put it in the Discord, man. Put it in Savage chat. Just think back to last year, to the first 2 weeks of 2023, Adam. DJ Moore, wide receiver 46. Amari Cooper, wide receiver 47. A.J. Brown, wide receiver 56. And Jamar Chase, wide receiver 74.
I mean,
it's 2 weeks. It's just 2 weeks, people. It's just 2 weeks. It's okay.
And you think about it though, right? Then so now after that game, you're on the road versus Tennessee, and I mean they were down in the first quarter, right? So like, I just want to give context to football, and it's like, all right, at this point, and obviously they're only going to continue to do whatever they have to do to try to win. This is fucking what they do. They could care less about your fantasy stats. If you haven't heard that by now, let me tell you 4 of them, okay? That said, though, like one thing with Aaron Rodgers that I know is coming, and this is where I think I'm interested to see when it happens. How many times have you seen with Rodgers where he gets these little fucking like basically a screen dump off pass around the line of scrimmage near the end zone to get a padded touchdown or get his guys involved? There's going to be a game where Garrett Wilson is so force fed. It's probably versus a team that they can beat and they're ahead on, where it is just. It is going to be movie-like. Now, I don't know about Malik Nabers just because 18 targets is fucking – it's absolutely ridiculous, bro. 68% target share in that game.
Is that good?
It's like – honestly, it's like playing on Madden and you know what they're going to run every time. They run the same fucking play over and over. Like how –
You know what it's like?
What?
Playing in an online dynasty with the shitheads. You know, when they play the computer, you know, they put up 7,000 yards passing in a game. You know, they're just running the same fucking play over and over again. Which coincidentally, Adam, when I started the second one and I turned on they got a feature. I don't know if you know this. You can turn it on where there's a play cooldown. Like you have to wait 5 plays until you call the next one. And then there's a play limit. Like you can only call the play 5 times in a game or whatever.
They basically
I turned that shit on almost universally, crying across the board. Fucking tears everywhere.
Dude, that's basically like fucking getting a bot like to do your to be your moderator, you know? Like holy shit, that's hilarious.
It's fucking great. It's great. So yeah, I'm with you. But at some point, you're right. Aaron Rodgers will have that CPU game where he just abuses the shit out of something.
You're gonna see Mike, and with Rodgers too, especially obnoxiously so. Like you can tell it is so his plays and the way that they run through him, they are so scripted. It's so first read. He knows where he's going with the fucking football. Like it's gonna be crazy. One of those games.
So let's just future cast a little bit on Garrett Wilson here, right? Because I told you it was 2 tough cornerback matchups.
Sure.
Here's the bad news: the next 2 weeks ain't that good either.
No, but that honestly, can I tell you though? Like, now this is not gonna be for the faint of heart, okay? Because if it's 4 weeks of this same type of mediocrity, people are gonna be ready to, they're gonna have the pitchforks out because some. Again, I'm not going to name names. I'm trying to save it. There's going to be some younger player that does middling to nothing or a highlight play, and he's not doing anything of exciting things, right?
Up he goes,
and down goes. But I'll say this though: if you're willing to, if you're willing to test those stones, you really when you go to the Manscaped, those things are hanging. That might be the best time to do it.
Let them hang. Listen,
but we got a super chat though. I just wanted to let's get this in. I'll keep going though. 12 team, start 11 lineup. Get Evans for Steele, Whittington, and a 25-second. Cheers to me being a new patron too. I mean, Tyler, the money you spend on the super chat not necessary. We'd always take it. I'm just talking about the question. Yeah, I mean, what do we? Yes. There's found money, and then there's like, okay, you found money on the street, and then someone immediately is going to say, here, I want to give you this because I want that money.
God.
But this is like a Kelsey signed jersey here. Let me really make it worth your while.
The cream hunt, cream, like me. The cream hunt waiver bids this week were wild. And then the Kareem Hunt waiver bids after he signed. Holy shit. Like, Pacheco's dead, man. Just write him off. It's over, man. These are the new kings of the playground.
Carson Steele, man. The memes on Carson Steele are crazy.
I'll send away Carson Steele, Jordan Whittington in my second. Congratulations on sending away just a second for Mike Evans. That's, on a contender. Come on.
I mean, if you're wrong and Carson Steele ends up being him, I mean, so be it. So fucking be it.
Listen, I'm like 95% certain a running back who's looks like Carson Steele, no offense, who wears number 42 and who came from UCLA is probably not him. Kevin?
Don't just listen. I'm not ever going to tell you what to say, how to say it, okay? But don't you ever disrespect Peyton Hillis like that ever again, okay?
With Mr. Madden, sorry.
Yeah, Peyton Hillis had that breakout year that could be very Carson Steele like, by the way, right? Like if he ended up, let's say this season. No, I'm saying that wouldn't surprise me though if somehow he had a decent season. Like Peyton Hillis for fantasy wasn't fucking some game breaker. He had a decent season, okay? And then it was over. It was an experience. That was a fun year, and Carson Steele won't get on the Madden cover. He won't be as cool as Peyton Hillis ever, but that's maybe what you trade away at the worst, probably. You know, a relevant season, possibly. You traded away.
Watch Rashee Rice just go full Debo now. Like we always like, who's the next Debo?
Well, I was curious if you thought Xavier Worthy, who's got a carry each game, starts getting 5, something crazy.
Please don't. Please don't.
That's more for people out there that are having a hard time with reality. I think the Chiefs aren't listening. That's not gonna happen. You're not giving that guy fucking 5 carries at 165 pounds. But
please don't.
I would love to hear, and I would love to see people's reactions if that was the case, Mike. It'd be so awesome. All this said, though, Tyler, appreciate the super chat, but we can get back to the conversation you were having with Garrett Wilson. That's an easy.
I was just saying, from a dynasty perspective, Adam, if you believe in Garrett Wilson and you believe it's going to turn around later, do you wait another week, another 2 weeks, and see what the cost is there? Because, listen, versus the Patriots, good cornerback, and then he gets Pat Surtain the following week. So, like, not the greatest. You know what I mean? Like, there's potential for to keep going down. Like, another 10-point week, another 11-point week, and today's price isn't going to be tomorrow's price. You know what I mean?
I also like. I guess here's the thing: if you're sold and you really believe, even if he's middling, let's call it. Like, I don't believe he's going to in those 2 weeks get low enough target volume to be trash. He's probably just going to be mediocre, right? That's what he's kind of been. The thing there is, I don't know that how much the price really drops in those 2 weeks. Now, that's manager dependent. Okay, some managers are like 1 week to the next. It's like bipolar. Okay, so if that's the case, different combo. To me, though, Mike, I think it was actually interesting timing when you look back at that conversation, the comment that Jefferson made up on the stand. Like, respectfully, I'm not Garrett Wilson. Like, here's the thing: Justin Jefferson, I don't give a fuck who's covering him. We don't care. Mm-hmm. And nobody does, and nor should you.
Right.
Garrett Wilson we're trying to make excuses because he's just not that tier, guys. I'm sorry. I wanted to see it. He's just not that tier. It's a God tier. There's a difference, right?
He's good. He's just not Justin Jefferson or motivated Jamar Chase or
right now. Right now, 2 weeks in, he's producing every bit of motivated Jamar Chase. But I don't know how long that Jamar Chase production sits pat. Well, anyway, all that to say, my level of concern is certainly higher with Garrett Wilson. I'm not truly panicked on either, but like I would say I'm not panicked at all on A-Rich. It was not a game I wanted to see, but I think you're lying to yourself if you didn't believe a game like that was going to come, if not multiple this season. He's going to have some games where you're like, what the fuck, dude?
I'm pretty sure Trip Crown is my wife, like just incognito. because he never listens like she doesn't. Like he hears what he wants to hear. I might as well just refer to her. She hears what she wants to hear. Doesn't pay attention, man. Adam, were we ever down on Nabers? Like ever?
No, I think the misconception. This is just in when you make content. I think you're going to get people coming out of with the pitchforks. But I think the thing in this conversation today is pretty relevant. I've heard a lot of it. Nick was telling me the same thing. I think it's more about Rome Odunze, and I know you were very in as I was too on Rome. And I think right now the people are ready to say that there's a massive separator, and that I think is more so this where like you had Malik and Rome in the same combo. I could be wrong because again, like if that is your wife, I'm not going to try to act like I know what she's trying to say. Like I know that game. I'm not doing that. But
shouldn't she
with
be
Trip Crown? I think I know what he's trying to say.
It's a school night, honey. Go to sleep.
Mike, you should know better than anyone not to do that because whatever you say to do, if it's like whether request command, however, it's not going to happen. They're going to go the opposite just to spite you.
I get you. No, Nabers is definitely him. Marvin Harrison sure looked like him. That was fun. That was a fun week. Let's just say that was a fun week from all the shit that was being said about Marvin. There was a lot of tweets that got deleted. It was weird, Adam. They just went into the fucking abyss, Can you still call them tweets anymore since it's X and it's not Twitter? I don't fuck. Who gives a shit?
I believe it's still called tweets, even though it is X. It's a weird thing, but
I'm an Instagram thought now, so like I've fully converted.
I've seen this. I
post daily.
I really don't get on Instagram much, but when I do, it's always
hot feet pics, motivational quotes. You're welcome.
It's either a story or a post, like pretty early in my small feed of people. So I'm like, all right.
You like that, buddy, right? Like I'm on it.
Well, I mean, sometimes you're like, all right, I don't know what this is. It's seemingly by the day not necessarily a fad. So, speaking of getting things wrong, I mean, if that ends up here to stay permanently, color me JMO on this one. Dead fucking wrong. When I say dead wrong, JMO's not even probably doing it justice. Like Jordan Love, maybe? Like, give me my worst call, and that would be where I would have been on that.
Good. Cam Akers.
Yeah. That one was me. I'm not saying you're going to – that would be me saying, like, you're going to be awesome on Instagram. You're going to stay and you pull out of fucking the Instagram race in 3 weeks or 2 weeks or something, right?
I tear my Achilles.
I'm talking, someone I said is dead and just – Jordan Love's probably – if he ends up being like what we think he is, he's going to be the worst call because he's a top, 10, 12 quarterback. And I said he's not going to make it through the season. Like I said, he's going to get Bryce Young.
We all have that.
Anyway – Malik Nabers, though, Mike, to you, I'm curious. I don't think a talent that good, like a guy that we're calling as elite and in the same range, we said he was in the same breath as every bit of Marvin Harrison, right? So at least give us credit on both sides of it, or for Mike anyway.
Even with Daniel Jones at quarterback, even with being on a trash organization run by imbeciles in the New York Giants.
Now, he's calling you out directly, so maybe in this because, Mike, any one thing is subject to be what they hang on. But you go back, check the facts, check the receipts here. I said with Malik Nabers, I think he's already got, because of dimes, because of the situation, a built-in, he's got a built-in Drake London, Garrett Wilson value clause. Like it's rinse and repeat. But what he also had, to me, makes him like arguably. It's funny, the Giants thing, if you think about it from that, like the Odell type of thing, where if he actually succeeds, it's Jamar Chase. Like it's he goes to God tier, because you're telling me Daniel Jones has literally never produced a receiver better than pick a dud, and the point is, like, it doesn't matter who you name. Like that person has never been relevant. It is Darius Slayton, I know, for the record, but like 800 yards or something. That's his best receiver he has. So if Malik Nabers smashes in this situation,
he might have that by week 8.
Well, he's definitely outside of injury is going to have a nice statistical season. But what I didn't see, though, and I don't think anyone did, was that level of dominance, albeit to a bad team. Where, Mike, tell me how many guys earn 18 targets in a game. Period. let alone
Very
week
many.
two. Week 2, right? Where I guess all that to say, normally I wouldn't be moving these players in this type of a tier that much based on what they're doing on the field because I already got them crazy high. I'm already expecting them to develop. But this is a little bit needle moving. I'm curious to you what that game or what his body of work, only 2 games in, obviously, is meaning to you for him in Dynasty.
Do you know how we said we'd never see like Puka Nacua start to a season ever again? We just never see that level of dominance from a rookie wide receiver coming out the gates. Malik Nabers like, watch this.
Well,
he did the usher, Watch this.
I will say though that it's very possible. I see 2 schools of thoughts on this. My one is we look back like, holy fuck, these Commanders, buddy. I mean, this defense is the woe. Or if he does next week, let's even say next week it's like the 14, 15 targets again. Doesn't get in the end zone, but like has a great fucking yards. All right, all bets are off. It's Cook'em season. Like if Puka Nacua had draft capital, whatever you thought that's going to be, you're going to find out right now. That's what will happen.
Right. I mean, Puka, 22 points, 30 points.
The one thing
points,
is week 1 and week
points.
2. Week 1 and with those 2 were very different. But if Malik keeps up what he's doing in week 2, even to a 70% degree, Mike, it's...
What if he drops another 30 burger this week?
I mean, I think the reason that would be incredibly notable is a lot of different things. One, with Puka Nacua, it took time. Even by week 3, while they were game planning for Puka, I can promise you in the locker room, in the film sessions, it is nowhere near the same fucking degree of what's happening, okay? What just took place with Malik Nabers, I can promise you one thing. There is literally one person they're talking about, and only one person the entire team is talking about the entire week. One person. Yes. And don't forget about Tyrone Tracy. He might get mentioned too.
Shut up, man. I got to besmirch the good name of Tyrone Tracy.
Because this offense has only room for Malik Nabers. All right, we know this now. Point is, if he does that in week 3, it's a combination of doing that. I think the defense is going to be doing some disgusting things to try to keep the ball away from him. And secondly, Puka Nacua kind of kept surprising. That's I guess what I'm trying to say. Like people, even the opposing defenses are like, what the fuck is going on here? This is not what we were expecting. And how much do they believe it after 1 week or 2 weeks? Now, Malik Nabers was already getting probably a crazy amount of attention in the film study before he played a game. So
I don't.
This would
think
be
he's
insane.
Up on anybody.
Well, he shouldn't be. And if he's sneaking up on you, I pause, but I don't know what the hell you want.
Well, he gets your brownies this week.
I'm curious to see what they do. That's the reason I'm talking about this. Is I know that we're not. Mike, our team is bad culture, a lot of bad things, but there's one thing happening in that fucking room, and it is
y'all playing D.
But it's talking about a singular person, and that's all they should be talking about.
Get after Daniel Jones's ass. Pause.
Well, Myles Garrett's going to do that. I can tell you for sure. He's gonna have him scared. Even if he doesn't hit him, he's gonna have him scared a little bit.
Hey, on a plus note though, man, we get a primetime Malik Nabers versus them bitch ass Cowboys. Is that the Odell moment? Is that where we all go, oh, there it is?
There's gonna be, I think, people thinking that, a certain somebody can really shut him down. I'm interested to watch that type of a matchup.
No matter what I say about the Giants, being an Eagles fan and being in the division, right? I don't hate you near the same level I hate the Dallas Cowboys. So we got that going for us. We can all hold hands and
Mike,
cheer, even though we both took L's this week. We can cheer about how badly Dallas got their ass waxed.
What? See, what you don't realize though. Let me translate this for you, okay? Anyone that's a Giants fan thinking like, "Oh, that's nice of him to say."
It was nice.
He's telling you that when you and him play one-on-one, he's not fucking threatened, and he dunks on your ass, and he doesn't give a shit. He wants you to. It's funny when you win because you suck. Okay, that's what he just told you to your face, is that your organization, aside from the fact that you're a joke as a fan, is a bigger joke. And I'm hoping that you win because it's comical. That's how bad it is.
It's a lot of shit talking for me after my team just collapsed on Monday night.
I mean, listen, I wasn't going to bring it up. Yeah, I get it though. I get it.
Hey,
the Giants are.
That was fucking horrendous. That was.
You know what's crazy about that though? Not only did the collapse, but Mike,
break shit.
The thing about it is, I wasn't there because the game hadn't finished, and but I was like, I'm thinking, holy, does the drum beat start now? You're starting to think like, does the drum beat already start? Are we gonna get to see Penix by like week 5? Like, and then the unthinkable happens, and fucking Kirk Cousins actually looks good. And the Eagles fuck it up to just Mike, that leash at least gets him. That was a longer leash than anyone thought possible for the first 2.5 quarters. Easy.
He put them chains back on right after the game.
I was waiting for him to reenact for sure that like point at the camera. I thought for damn sure that's happening. And if it did, someone is holding that footage hostage for a bag, right? Like that's what's happening.
If I was him, I would have walked off that field in the link and just been like, "You like that? You like that?"
There's no way he wasn't doing that though, right?
Just
like,
live it up, Kirk. Hey, Eagles played like shit, and Kirk did his thing, man. So credit to both of them. Credit to my Eagles for being fucking idiots. Listen, I'm not even furious about the play call, right? It was there. Saquon's got to make the catch. I don't know how the fuck else to
Saquon. I'll say this: Saquon right now to me,
fucking catch, and the defense has to no fucking timeouts. Maybe not give up 20-yard chunk plays all the time.
Dynasty fantasy, obviously you got to make that catch. There's no debate. But like Saquon is any one of you guys that were trying to. I got a lot of L's, Mike. I got a lot of L's, but this one you got to fucking hold this L. Okay, you got to hold this one.
The highlight of that whole one for me, Adam, was I saw somebody on Twitter right after the game go, "Man, Darius Slay's going to post some like motivational bullshit on fucking Twitter at like 2 a.m. It comes like 2 a.m. Darius Slay posts like, "This one's on me. I owe you one, Philly," or like some bullshit like that. And I'm like, maybe cover Drake London next time, you fuck. God damn it.
Yeah, but I mean, I'll say the defense for Philly though, like based on the last year collapse, that I think that team has no conversational issues with talent. If you do, I think that you're being facetious. There's no way. But that was not a feeling or a thing that anyone should take lightly that happened in that game, because it felt a little bit close to home if you've been watching it a lot, right?
Can we get Hassan Reddick back, please? I mean, he doesn't want to play for the fucking Jets. Can we get him back? Because Bryce Huff is fucking terrible, man.
Yeah.
That is the worst defensive end I think I've ever seen in my fucking life. It
literally looks like I know some guys that went to a different high school that were just a bunch of junkies, right? Like it looked like I swear he looks like he did huff something before the fuck. He is ass cheeks, bro.
The number fits. The number fits. He's wearing number 0. He's a fucking 0 out there. He's a 0. He's got 1 assisted tackle. That's his only stat of the year, besides getting washed down and pancaked every fucking run play to the outside.
I mean, again, it's one game, but that one was. I mean, you should be concerned.
A little bit,
Mike. I can't be on here too long tonight. It's been a whirlwind over here, but I want to talk about a couple players. This one here is at least noteworthy to talk. J.K. I mean, obviously, 2 weeks in now. Week 1's, I think there's a lot of people like that's fluky because of, I think it was 10 carries, some long plays.
Did it again.
This week now, while Gus Edwards got 18 carries, like when we were telling you, we don't have a crystal ball. I don't. Let me rephrase. I don't have a crystal ball. Mike does. We knew what was happening here, though. And if you didn't think this was going to be a run fucking first, a Joe alt delete fucking led offense, Mike.
Oh, I like what you did there, Joe.
I wish I could take credit for that. It's the sickest nickname. I wish I could say it was mine that I invented, but that is crazy.
Oh, can I get that on a fucking Chargers jersey with his number?
Dude, I guarantee you they're gonna be making him. That
Please.
Nickname is gonna get used and
that's
abused.
fucking fire, man. I need that. I need that powder puff blue. That.
Well, if Joe Alt, especially in a matchup like this week, like if he does, if he gets Mr. TJ Watt, and if you put someone like that on a milk carton, buddy, that shirt is gonna be everywhere. All that to say though, this Gus got 18 carries, so did JK got 17, and then he also feasted with it while Gus Edwards did nothing with his work. So
looked slow and terrible and disgusting, and yeah,
he looked like the bus that makes the local stops, right? Doing a lot of stopping, starting, going nowhere, nowhere fast.
Not very long either.
Jeez, that's a pause, and I know where you're going with this. Look,
it's about 8 inches.
JK, let's what?
Shout out Oyo. I got you, Adam. All right.
JK, what? Okay, here's the question. At this point, where should he be valued? And then, are you in or out with what you've seen for 2 weeks?
You might as well be in, man. Ride him while he's healthy, and pray he stays healthy.
Well, this is the conversation for me, right?
Stop doing front flips too.
I mean,
you fuck.
JK to me is and was, and Roman knows this, and you bring in Roman's got him again. Like, before the injuries started to really derail his career at a point, like, they knew he was him. Like, and if people want to act like the talent was ever an issue, you're just fucking being an idiot. I'm sorry. Like, Zeke was unreal at Ohio State, and JK said, "Hold my beer." But people don't remember that because JK is a bust because of the injuries. So, like, the only thing surprising about this is the fact that he's like, this is a little bit medical marvelish too, right? Like, yeah. But you shouldn't be acting like JK's was never a talented elite type of a prospect. The point is, while this has been great, and I think the usage is likely to stay, and every single week, I don't care what the game script is, this team is going to try to run the fucking football. So you got all that going for you, but Mike, we got two things that we have to discuss. Okay. Keep trade cut. I'm getting ready to just Joe Alt delete that whole fucking website too, because he's running back 19, Mike. Like, don't talk for a second. Just everybody listen to that. 19 he's at, okay? Mike, I actually believe that like Akers is a good example. I think Akers has had a fucking disaster of a relationship with McVay. And I'm not going to defend my takes. I've been in a lot of L's, but like I saw it multiple times off of the Achilles, like him fucking destroy Budda Baker on that run. Like, yep. I don't actually think the Achilles with these great doctors is the same as it once was. Foreman has had bursts of great runs. Same with Akers, and then now you got Dobbins coming. Literally, that was last year too. Cam Akers was running. What was it, 5 or 6 months after? I don't think that is a death sentence to talented running backs, and I think JK is at least starting to prove that. But I also don't know that we can expect JK to be able to hold up with this type of a workload, buddy. Like, this is a guy that he is a full year removed from the ACL, but you're in real territory of running backs now, buddy. Like, you're in de-risk it fucking pivots easy here.
You are. I mean, there's definitely some that I would prefer straight up to J.K. Dobbins. I'm with you. I think that's a little spicy, but he's in the ballpark. I mean, it's not that absurd. I mean, if you're looking at it like Derrick Henry, I'll still prefer Derrick Henry, Tony Pollard,
I was going to say,
Najee Harris.
Tony P. Why isn't Tony P getting love for his first 2 weeks? Like,
I don't know. I mean, he's right on the heels of Brian Robinson. Brian Robinson or J.K. Dobbins. I'll take a little bit more sure thing than Brian Robinson for sure.
Yeah, I'll take B-Rob still. Yep.
But I like J.K. I mean, I think he's a very good back end RB too. If you could still acquire J.K. for like a contender second, like fuck it.
I kind of have a feeling.
That ship sailed.
When I say I have a feeling, listen, I could be wrong. The feelings sometimes are just gas. There's nothing there. But Mike, I pay attention to a couple. I pay attention to a couple. Up 146 spots. Do you know what that means? That means that literally for their algorithm, any person that's getting JK in front of their fucking screen is almost not reading the other names.
But think about it from the other end of the spectrum. You and I got a lot of rebuilders.
Yeah.
Maybe we still had some J.K. Dobbins that we picked up off of fucking waivers,
Sure.
On a rebuilder. If someone offered you a second for J.K. right now, you don't hesitate to hit yes on that, right?
I don't. Sure. But, like, okay, think about it this way. I'm with you. Well, but like, okay. Scenario in a shit league scenario where I know there's not going to be a better offer coming. Like I know the league mates I'm in. Like I'm very, yeah, I'll take that because I know I'm not. I know the upside isn't worth trying to squeeze this lemon. There's not much to be had here that's even worth fighting for. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what happens in a lot of leagues, and I hate to just admit this about the game of Dynasty that's frustrating. People are you know what's happening? People are going to ask for prices that Keep Trade Cut is probably suggesting here, which I can tell you right now is going to be near first territory.
God damn.
Like, off of a game where he now solidified over 100 yards and outrageous efficiency. You think most managers in Dynasty are going to be logical in that rebuild? Like, I'm happy as hell to get this 212 in this shitty 25 class. Fuck no. Fuck no, dude.
That's true.
Oh, thank God I got the pivot out for this guy. I don't know anything about the 25 class. I just know it's not good.
I get you.
People are ready to fucking watch him go for 200 next week, right?
My actionable advice.
Let's hear it.
To you people out there with rebuilding teams or middle of the road ones who have J.K. Dobbins on your team, take it any fucking second that somebody sends you.
But I will say, and I'm with you.
And thank me down the road later.
Well,
you'll be like, wow, Mike, that was a good process play.
It was a good it will always be a good process play. Now, if J.K. defies the odds, and Mike, and we're at week 7, and he's got literally everything is 100-yard games, that person, I promise you, just similar to Trip Crown, he's not singing your praises. Just so that I give you a heads up, because your process isn't wrong. But I will say, I think another thing that's going to lend people to be trying to get a lot more than that just late second. Mike, you know what else is happening right now? While I think it always feels more real in the moment than I think when you look in context, the injuries are always happening every year. But right now it feels very, very insane, the level of players that are hurt that are very relevant for your teams. So what does that mean? People are looking to flex seal anything, buddy. They're looking to fill. They got Debo. They got fucking. But there's teams out there literally that have shambles in their starting roster before we get to buys.
Yeah,
those people sometimes, Michael, send more than you fucking should for a J.K. Dobbins. Like that definitely can happen. I'm not telling people to hold, for the record. I agree with Mike. The process plays take a second. If you think there's maybe a third to be had or something, fine. But don't get greedy if you are in a position where you can't really use J.K. to your advantage. You're also playing with a risky game. That's my thing with J.K., even on a contender, Mike, because I think, obviously, you've seen 2 weeks in a row. His upside's in elite territory, honestly. But I think the risk is still – the risk scares the shit out of me, honestly, just because the running back position in general is so risky. But he has been – I mean, I love the kid to death, but he's fucking burned a lot of my contender teams. Scott Fishbowl, the last time I was in it, was dead before the season started. You know?
Yeah. I think he's very good. Just don't get very good for a contending team. Like, I'm not too apt to move him on a contender.
Let's talk about it from the flip side, Mike. You're a contender, interested in JK.
Sure.
You're talking about you're advocating for selling for a late second. So I guess this is where, if we're from the buying lens, does that price change much for you? And then, because I think a lot of people probably will pay more right now.
I'm not paying anything more than that. The reason being, right? If you want to keep trade cut, I mean, it's telling me that JK's above James Conner, Derrick Henry, Tony Pollard, Aaron Jones. Come on, man. It's the same picture. It's the same fucking picture. It's the same bet. And I would even argue that those names are a little bit more trusty. They're fucking AAA rated credit score, right?
I'm with you. I'm with you at this
JK's,
point on every name you
JK's
mentioned, other than maybe Aaron
B's,
Jones.
Double B, whatever the fuck you want to do. That's the credit rating on him. Where you're I like it. It's going up. It's. I'm not gonna say it's the Dogecoin, but it's more like Ethereum or some shit like that. You know what I mean?
JK by
Bitcoin. It's not
JK
quite
by a
$.
country mile. JK by a country mile. I've seen.
Oh yeah.
I haven't seen that much of Mostert, but I've seen enough. I think, buddy. To be honest with you,
I've seen enough of this usage thing. Obviously not last week because he was injured, which,
Right.
no way, 87-year-old running back who's injured. But this Achane thing is like, this ain't going away.
Well, I mean, I think
I'll take the JK.
Anybody would be a fool to not have expected like Achane to get more usage, but what's happened with the combination of Tua going down,
that offense has gotten way worse,
and Mike McDaniel coming out and saying I think Achane's earned the opportunity to even get more work. Like, I'm sorry, what?
I don't know how.
You've seen him weigh in at 188, right? Like, you know what this is.
We joked that he went like full like Miami cocaine dealer.
But I don't think it's a joke. I think that's what makes it a great joke, though, is there's a little bit of truth to it. You know, there's a little bit of chaos in his. But Mike, this is easy because with Mostert, I feel like the JK experience that you're having right now, we never thought Mostert was all that talented, but like that was already there. Like the fall people have been waiting for the fall, and you can say I'm calling it early, but I'm calling it early. I'm not going to let the poor kid get fucking while he's down. Just keep getting hammered. I'm calling it. It's over. You know.
JK pretty easy on that one.
I mean, yeah, Achane's the injury risk is real with any player, but like that's the only thing that could save Mostert in any capacity. Achane has stolen this backfield and is not giving it away.
Yeah. This is easy, JK. I did see a JK or QJ. I like that one.
Interesting.
Talk about the process on that one.
Where is that comment, actually? There was a couple. There's a couple.
It's a little bit up.
Oh, here it is. Got it. Trip Crown. Yeah, JK.
JK for you over QJ?
Yeah. Like,
all right. Well, what if you're what if you're more of a rebuilding team?
To be honest with you, I think
middle of the road.
Even there, I feel like I'm just doubling my process. Where like QJ's a sell for me on a rebuilder too.
Okay.
Like I feel like in this trade, the reason I say
don't
JK
think it's
is
necessarily wrong.
Yeah, QJ right now. Listen, you got to like what you've seen the first 2 weeks. I'm not trying to dunk on QJ right now, okay? But the passing volume of this offense is, I don't think, going to ever be the forte, the plan. It will happen when they have a high passing volume game. It is going to happen not by design. It's going to happen by fucking force of nature. Someone just kicked them in the fucking teeth. Someone's kicking them in the fucking teeth, buddy. But I think
it's
the
going to be third and fourth quarter like garbage. Like
while I like QJ getting and clearly having Justin Herbert having eyes for him and earning, but like I think the target floor for him is probably what we're starting to see already, like 6, 5, 7 maybe. You have those 2 touchdown games, but I also think that's baked in a little bit to his true resurgence of value. Like I feel like he's going to end up being fine. I just don't think that I need to see a lot more for me to believe that he is a person I should be investing in on my rebuilders per se, right? Like I'm not sold on that. JK though, obviously I don't. If you're on a rebuilder, you're fucking thrilled that he's got value, but JK to me is actually is proving to be someone that could be a fucking problem for opposing fantasy teams.
I mean, at least QJ in his rookie year did more than Jamison Williams ever did in his first 2 years. So
that's not hard to do. The bar is not high, but yeah, you're right.
Hey, just in general, the process is face planter wide receivers. Like, you take them. I will say on a rebuilder, though, like it's more 50-50. Like, ideally, I'd rather just sell JK for the pick and roll the dice on the draft capital, right? Being able to use that to do whatever the fuck I want when I want. I will always take the draft capital over the player, but let's just say it is a shit league, and all the picks are fucking already on Adam's roster, and there's no way I'm getting a second for my J.K. Dobbins, but I need to move off. I'd take QJ for J.K. there.
Okay, yeah, and now obviously, like in certain leagues, if you got to be creative, you got to do what you got to do. I won't fight that. I won't fight that area, but I think the reason I say that is like a lot of times in my fear in this situation, just to put it all on the table for you, like I love what you're seeing out of QJ. Believe it or not, I did sell some to Mike, but I still have some. I'm like, okay, this is great, regardless. And in best ball, even I'm not panicked to move because I think his role is now solidified. Right?
Just saying, in 2024, Adam,
he's better than Puka by a lot.
Like I won that trade.
You're so far 20.
If you just ignore 2023,
yeah,
like I took you to the woodshed, bitch.
It's early, yeah, and it could be bad. It could be just paddling me, right? But
listen to this. Oh, that's such a good sound.
But as Mike is
thought?
As Mike is making the uncorking of the bottle be heard, QJ to me though the problem is in this flip, and I've been a part of these where Mike, I'm not Rondale Moore type, so like, I'm not saying that he's the type of receiver QJ is. They're very different, but same type of principle where it's like, okay, Rondale though is a young receiver that has, you could make this trade, and it's more flexible, you say, but it is flexibly more. You think there's some long-term value, there's some name cachet. He doesn't give you back a 2-touchdown game, and every single week it continually just, you watch it deteriorate, and you're
I'm with you.
To me the problem is, what do you sell it for? I think this is a good conversation. We can end on this one. What do you think here? And like I got there's another question. I'll give you one more too. It's a good one. But what would you sell him for? So let's say you have to go to the flip route.
I got to sell QJ. Just
what are you selling him for right now? What are you asking for? What's reasonable?
Give me a second.
I'm curious to think.
Give me a second.
I saw people giving a second for QJ in the offseason. So now this was the earlier part of the offseason. So I bet you there's probably people to do that. I'm curious though if if we polled this for the average dynasty manager, what they would say on that.
Or give me a third, and let me scroll here. Listen, is there a possibility I can get Keon Coleman straight up for Quentin Johnston at this point? Do you think that's a thing? Ricky Pearsall. Could I get Ricky Pearsall?
Sure. Ricky P, I'll tell you something that's pretty
Ricky
cold.
P?
Well, there's probably some cold. This is pretty cold-blooded, but there's people out there saying that Ricky got shot, but he won't get a shot.
Damn, that is harsh. Can I get Adonai? No, Christian Watson.
I don't think so.
Can I get Christian Watson?
Okay. I'm listening.
Can I get Xavier Leggett?
Xavier Leggett, I think, is an interesting one because I think people in general were very split on him. So there's probably a big part of the community that's already ready to panic.
Can I get Jermaine Burton in a third?
Yeah, I think you could do that. Yes.
Can I get Roman Wilson in a third?
Yes, I believe those two we haven't seen them play at all, really, basically. So I think yes, you can. Where is he right now on QJ Cut? I'm kind of curious to see how reactionary people are with QJ.
Damn.
Where is he?
Just looking through some shit here.
Okay, so QJ right now, Mike, is actually ahead. So yeah, like I said, he's ahead of Ricky P. Watson, he's on his heels. I'm kind of curious if you can get that done. I think the only reason you might be able to is because of Malik Willis, but Jordan Love, for all intents and purposes, it sounds like he's going to be back pretty soon. So
Jalen McMillan in a third.
I doubt it, just because I'm literally reading the next names. You could though. You might. You never know. But
Luke McCaffrey in a third.
I think Luke McCaffrey in a third you could probably do. But so just to give you the names. So Quentin Johnston is at wide receiver 47. And basically he's jumbled into a tier that includes Xavier Leggett, Josh Downs, Jalen McMillan, Christian Kirkpatrick is outrageous. Alec Pierce, Deontay, Keenan Allen. This tier is a country mile. It's like a whole page. Anyway, I think a lot of people there may not do it. What?
Full circle for you. Bryce Young, straight up.
Yeah, definitely.
You think that happens? You fucking take all my QJ. You take all my J.K. Dobbins at that rate, too.
Okay, actually,
God damn, I told you I'd bring it back.
I literally cannot. I cannot stay long. I'm supposed to already be off, but we're not. We have to talk about this. Actually, I will answer this question. Xavier Lopez. I have it starred. Okay, I promise. Let's talk about this for a second, because I actually wanted to go there, and we just, like we do, we just keep talking about everything that the chat wants to, and then we just go down the rabbit hole. We never really circled back to this point, because what I was trying to get to, I'm out here trying to click my Google Chrome, and I'm literally making that comment smaller, but my apologies. This conversation, though, with QJ and with Bryce and the whole circle thing you're doing right now, while I know what your angle is here, Like, I think we have to have a serious conversation about it. I'm not saying you need to change or tell me any specific answer, but going into this offseason, right? The conversation was a lot for us. The phase planner wide receiver value just is stupid, right? Like, why the hell is this happening? Like, these two don't make sense. And specifically JMO and specifically Hugh J, of all people. Those are literally the two poster childs. Like, everyone's seen enough of Bateman to write him off now, right? Like, those were the two guys that the community was putting their neck out for. And we're like, what the fuck are you doing? Are you huffing shit? Like, huff. Like, what's happening? Simultaneously, we're like, the quarterback market's just stupid. Why are you panicked on Bryce Young? Why are you panicked? So I don't think the community as a whole has kind of put this all together yet as far as the full circle thing you're getting to here. But I think you will feel soon the shift even get greater. Like, the two guys that if we were to point out all the receivers that were young, we'd be like, these two are dead wrong. They're dead wrong. And at least they could end up being, I think, bad processes too. They could be the exceptions to the rule, both of them. But do you know what the community does in general here? I just told you how many people go skyrocketing up the board. This is going to become what the new fucking truth is. What's your take on what this is going to do to dynasty values? And then also, what is your play with Bryce Young shares, and are you buying more?
Oh, I'll buy the shit out of Bryce Young. You seen the prices on this fucking guy? Like, have you?
I didn't
trades,
actually,
man.
Go ahead.
Like,
I didn't actually go to the lab on him. I've been looking at a bunch of them, not on Bryce.
We didn't need to make a fucking tool and call it a different fucking name and steal from somebody else. We didn't have to do that. So I go to the lab and I look at trades of Bryce Young across all my leagues and everybody that I play with. And Adam, I got Bryce Young out here being traded for a 26th third. I got Bryce Young being traded out here for fucking Mike Gesicki. I got Bryce Young being traded for Andy Dalton for a 26th second. I got Bryce Young being traded for Hollywood Brown, who's also coincidentally not going to play in 2024 more than likely. Like, this is where we're at with Bryce Young on the panic. All right, he's already QB 32 on our good friends Keep Trade Cut. Like,
I'm surprised it's not lower than 32, to be honest with you, because the
it's
trade
working its way there.
The trade market's certainly ahead of its ranking on Keep Trade Cut. But like I guess here's the question: I'm genuinely curious. What did you expect people to be trading them for? Like, those are bad. I'm not, but at the same time, Bryce Young has been pissing people off because of just the narratives, I think, in general. So now those pissed off people are like, he's actually dead. That's why I put the thumbnail as what it is. He's in a graveyard right there, right? Like,
he is.
They're trading him they're trading him like he is dead because here's the thing. I think he's gonna. We're seeing Sam Darnold play. We're seeing Baker Mayfield play. I don't know how many times we got to talk about the recycled number one picks, but we discussed how, like, this is a Rosen deal, but even weirder. So people, I think, are just fucking done. Obviously, by those trades. I'm just curious. What would you do if you have Bryce Young on a contender? I guess is the question too.
Let me just throw out some names that were outside the top 32 quarterbacks once upon a time in Keep Trade Cut, and where they are now. Okay, this is it. I mean, we talk about face planner wide receivers and our process on them, and JMO might be the outlier, right? And I'm fully ready to be like, listen, I was wrong. I went with the process play. JMO fucking smashed. But in general, most of these fucking guys just fade away into oblivion. Now, you want to look at quarterbacks who have like been in similar situations, been written off, and they didn't write back. Geno Smith. Still starting. Still got dynasty value. The guy who's at QB 8 right now on Keep Trade Cut, Adam, you'll love him. Jordan Love. Remember when we wrote him off? That ain't never going to happen. We wrote him off his last year.
I mean, Jordan Love, though, you're not wrong. But Jordan Love also, I mean, he sat for the whatever you think the longest period of time is, that's probably going to be that, right?
That's fair. QB 18 right now on Keep Trade Cut. And he was higher. Trust me, he was way higher. Jared Goff. We wrote him off at one point. Done. Dunzo. Just up to like probably last week, Ben, we were writing Derek Carr off. Now I see D-Bros out there like, if you don't have Derek Carr as a QB1 for this upcoming week, what the fuck are you doing with your rankings?
Well, the only thing I will say, I get your point. At the same time, I'm thinking about it, including Jordan Love here. You know what we hadn't seen though is, personally, I don't believe you could say this, that we saw Jordan Love. We just didn't see anything. We saw him fail to get on the field. That was his fail. Like, he fucking can't do anything on the field. And as a matter of fact, they gave Rodgers a new contract. So you want to talk about where it really got crazy? That was the full-on panic. That was where he could be had for nothing. Even those guys you're mentioning, Bryce Young, at least there was 1 week in the fantasy playoffs he was relevant, but he had a horrible rookie season, and he is left everything to be desired the first 2 weeks. So I think seeing him be that bad also is probably what is making this feel so gross or so bad, because the level of failure for him has been. I think this. I just struggle to say words there because we don't know what the fuck to make of it, because the team also is so dog shit. Like, is it all him? Is it all not him? But when are we going to see him play again? And I guess if you're going to buy him, you said what would you sell him for? Like, or if you have him on a contender, what do you do?
I'll give you two more names.
Okay.
Inside the QB2 range, Justin Fields.
He smashed for fantasy football, though, right? Smashed.
And Sam Darnold. Just saying, man. Just saying. Quarterbacks, if you want to buy low on the panic like Bryce Young, listen, they have paid off, and I can give you mucho examples currently.
This might be
the league. This isn't me digging back into the fucking archives. Listen, yes, there is a Trey Lance. There is a Josh Rosen. That shit does happen. I'm just saying, in general, I see people out here fucking standing all the time for the Jameson Williams of the world, the Quentin Johnstons of the world, the fucking Treylon Burks of the world, the Elijah Mitchells, the fucking Rashad Batemans. The list goes on and on and on at wide receiver, Adam. And most of them are shitters and never fucking do anything, and we forget about them. Quarterbacks, on the other hand, are a finite commodity. So to the overarching point, am I buying into Bryce Young at these fucking prices? And as they continue to get lower, abso-fucking-lutely.
So I guess I could have put that on a tee for you. I mean, I know what your answer is going to be. I think anyone here, if you expect it different from there, I mean, I don't know how many times you need to see this movie. Now, what I do have a more of a question for, like, what are you, if you have him on a team that's a contender, because I know, like, Bryce is not different than a lot of quarterbacks. You have a lot of shares. So if you have him on a contender, what's your play with him there? And then also, while you're buying these other shares, because here's the thing, that's a tough one, I agree. But then also, when you buy more, like, what's the escape strategy? I think at some point, what we have to do, while saying the upside is worth shooting on low here, we can't buy them all at all these discount prices, and in best ball especially, but even in lineup. We can't just say, all right, I got Mac Jones worth nothing now. I got Kenny Pickett worth nothing now. I got fucking Bryce Young worth nothing. We can't do that. We can't have – what is the escape? We're going into a fire. I just want to give you an analogy and a visual, okay? Some people need to be visual learners. Let me give you a fucking visual. There's a burning fucking building that we keep running into them. Now, we ain't dead yet, but no one's seen us come out alive. So what's the escape strategy? What's the escape exit? What do you do on the contenders that you have some of these shares where you're like, damn, I really don't want to take this zero. So how do we work the other side too?
Do you need an escape strategy?
And that was the question I figured. That was the question that I knew you and that was where I had to give you the visual, because this, I think, is the problem with the conversations we have is like, yeah, you do. You can't do this over and over and over again, because the payoff then at a certain point is actually not worth it, and it's holding roster spots, especially in best ball. That's why I bring up best ball, because I have Trey Lance in a couple best balls that I'm probably getting ready to cut, unfortunately. I don't like to, but I got to. Like, I can't take these many zeros.
That's fine, but here it is. Cost of acquisition. I'm buying Bryce Young for what I think is going to be a late second. Let's just say that's the price, because some of it will be thirds, but let's go a little bit pricier. Let's say it's a late second, right? I'm trading away Adam's pick. I know Adam's got a good fucking team. Adam's going to fucking be in the playoffs. This is a late second. Do I actually need an escape strategy that's any more robust than what I already had with your fucking pick, Adam? Because what I'm telling you is, if you go back and you look at rookie draft classes throughout the fucking years, whoever I was to select with that late second anyways is just as much of a risk and probably not as big as a payoff as a Bryce Young acquisition. So let's just look at last year, 2023. Tank Bigsby was a 212.
But we're not going to have this argument, are we? We know that you don't have to draft that pick.
Josh Downs was the 211.
I don't. We're not going to have this conversation because we don't have to hold a pick.
But most fucking people are going to hold the pick. Let's be real. Most people are going to hold the fucking pick, and they're going to make it because
I agree with that. But also most people aren't going to go buy Bryce Young.
And all of a sudden,
this conversation doesn't. This is not a helpful conversation. I'm sorry. I'm going to cut that off because it's not helpful. Because people are just because most people aren't buying him too. Like that's fine. I'm not trying to have the conversation of like, what is the actionable advice here? Like we can't tell people. I know you manage your teams how you manage your teams. No. Okay, we can't tell people. We can't advocate for people to go buy all these players to not because
to use those picks. How many of those 210s, 211s, 212s, 209s did you make last year? Did you make none of them? Did you use every single one of them in a deal somewhere to move up and around, to acquire players in season?
I can give you the same conversation.
No. Like,
I can give you the same conversation. Like I can give you the same conversation, no. And it's far more meaningful, way more meaningful to give a second in a package, and is way more flexible than fucking Bryce Young right now. So stop. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this?
We do not do it to 100% certainty.
All right,
you don't.
Everybody, I already have overstayed how long I should be down here, and at this point, this is not a conversation that's worth having. If you're just going to not give us a real answer, dude. Like, I'm sorry.
I gave you a real answer.
No, that's not. I asked you, what's the escape strategy? You said you don't have one. Like, what? That's not advice.
I asked if you necessarily need one.
It's a rhetorical question. So that's now you saying that's no. So I'm not misrepresenting you.
You're going to do the same shit that you would do if you held that fucking pick and didn't trade it optimally, wouldn't you? Yes.
No.
Yes.
That's not the conversation. Who's we?
You'd burn that pick on Marvin Mims, and you'd be like, fuck.
No, some people might. You also don't think people use seconds for J.K. Dobbins?
Yes, 100%.
So what?
But not all the time. So do you necessarily need a?
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Can I tell you why? Why do you necessarily need it? Stop for a second. Stop. Why do you need an escape strategy? Because Mike, you keep telling people to run to burning buildings with nothing to get out. That's what you keep doing.
Oh, that's what I'm doing. I'm telling them to run to a burning building.
That's what the community. While you're saying all that, right? What do most people do? They panic sell. That's what's happening for them. I'm not telling you that you and I do that. I'm not telling you that you are going to panic sell these guys. But I'm saying when we give actionable advice, go buy Bryce Young after they have Mac Jones and they have all these guys, dead bodies on their team. I'm asking, what is your escape strategy? So if you're telling me you're not going to sell any of them, are they going to have now 6 quarterbacks? They're going to have 6 quarterbacks that are dead on their team.
They might.
But I'm saying, how do we give actionable advice? That's not helping.
Like, what do you want me to say? All right, so
I'm asking.
Buy Bryce Young right now for a second, and then panic sell after 2 weeks for a fucking 4th round pick. Is that what you want?
I'm sorry. What do I want?
Yeah.
Now you want to know what I want. Now after I asked you a clear question, now you want to know what I want?
I don't necessarily know if it was clear.
I asked you don't know how clear the question was when I gave a visual on what's the escape strategy?
Yes, I'm 1,000% saying that. That's yes. Okay? You answer the question then. What is the escape strategy?
I'm not actually advocating right now for buying. I'm not because I'm not. Here's the difference. Here's the difference, Mike. I'm not actually advocating for buying Bryce Young right now. I get the payoff could be there, but I'm not doing that personally.
So you're not going to buy Bryce Young. That's your thing.
I'm not going to do that because I already am in the position what I'm talking about here where I would like to be able to do that, but I also can't really afford to on some of these teams where I'm already thinking about having to cut a Trey Lance, a Mac Jones, and all these guys. It's like the payoff is real for Bryce. It definitely could be, but it also might be 2 years from now. And on some of these teams I've been rebuilding for, like I don't really need to make that type of a long-term play if I have to hold it. Because right now the quarterback market is as shitty as it's been, and ever since I played Dynasty, it is the shittiest quarterback market I've ever seen. Period. And this is only going to make it worse. Now, Bryce could play sometime, but I don't know when it's going to be. I'm not going to sink my third into that right now. I'm not telling you it's not a worthwhile investment and couldn't end up paying off tenfold, but I don't need to make that type of a trade right now. So I'm not actually advocating for it. I'm not saying that you can't. I'm actually asking if you're going to do it. And we're talking about, we've already said go buy quarterbacks and buy more and draft them all. We've told people you're telling people to draft them in the first round, all of them. Buy the dead ones. I'm saying, what's the escape strategy as a piece of actionable advice? That's what I'm asking.
You don't. You make your bet. What do you want to do? Like, okay, so you buy a meme stock like AMC, GameStop, right? It goes up in value, and you're like, holy shit, and you hold, and all of a sudden it fucking hits the fucking down in the shitter. Do you go like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do? My escape strategy is I'm gonna sell at fucking $5 a share. I bought in at fucking 20, but I'm selling at 5.
But
like I'm gonna sell at the lowest fucking point possible, and just take this massive loss and move on with myself. Or am I gonna sit here and see if it goes back up?
So there's no team.
Why?
So there's no team. But there's no teams where you need roster spots. There's no teams where you have to, although you don't want to necessarily do it, you have to kind of make a play.
If I'm buying into Bryce Young, it's not on a contending team where I fucking desperately need roster spots. Like, that's a horrible move. Why would you do that?
But Mike,
I think we could both agree on that one.
Okay, but that's the first time you said it. You haven't clarified that.
Okay. I thought that was understood. That's my fault. I will say this.
I'm
not buying fucking Bryce Young on my contending rosters.
All right, there you go. That's a different conversation.
With any type of draft capital. It'd be like the same thing like buying Hollywood Brown right now on a contending roster. What the fuck's the point? It's not helping me at all currently.
Okay, now that's a helpful part of the conversation. I think that's trying to get to the point. I'm trying to just tell people, because I'm like, I think people right now already, and you can speak to this, you have plenty of contending best ball teams. We're already looking at injuries piling up. We're already looking at probably having a couple people we shouldn't carry on our. We're already getting to points of like not having fun cutting players or getting off of zeros on your team. So that also, when you think about that, is going to play into the market of. That's probably going to be half your teams you can't even buy Bryce Young, even if you wanted to, even if it is really cheap, or if you do, you know you're making a risk here. So that's why I'm talking about. If you're on the other side, what's the escape strategy? Because whether you want to get off of them or not, there's sometimes, Mike, you know that there's payoff down the road, but I got to get rid of this right now because it's burning a hole in my pocket. It's fucking, it's a dead weight. So that's, I guess, what I'm asking. Like, how would you move them there?
That's a tough one. I mean, it's like asking what you would have done with J.K. Dobbins when he got injured last year.
There you go. But what did we say? Here's the thing. You gave an answer there. What'd you say? You cut him if you have to. Try to get him off for any fourth. Get him off. I'm not saying the same conversation for Bryce, but I'm saying what is it there? That's what I think people need to know, because that's not a fun conversation, but that's what we try to do.
Here's the thing: at the quarterback position, it's just so much different. It is so much different because the payoff is so much higher, and the value flips in an instant. Right? Just last week at this time, Andy Dalton's dead. No one gives a fuck about Skylar Thompson. He's on the fucking waiver wire. And now those are one of the hottest commodities in fucking Dynasty on the waiver wire. People picking them up for ridiculous amounts of fab and putting them immediately on the block, being like, I'll take any third. I'm sure you would.
Sure.
I'm sure you would.
Yeah, but that also speaks to, though, like Bryce Young carries a cost that those guys didn't, right? Like Bryce Young, even now, Trey Lance has carried a cost the last 2 years that most people didn't. And you're going to have your payoffs and you're going to have your guys that don't. And so I think here it's continually to invest in on some teams if you're going to do that. But also, what's the play to get rid of some? Because if we keep doing that, Bryce Young, you buy the dip. Now, like Fields, for example, if you bought Fields with the same type of mentality, you didn't have to see Russ not play because he got hurt. But the point is, there's an opportunity cost with the roster spot plus the payoff of, it's kind of like the wide receiver thing. You got to trade for Ayuk a pick, and then you got to pay him. Like, you're holding the roster spot too. Even in lineup, you're holding a roster spot. Like, there, it's a little different because I'll take all the quarterbacks. But in best ball, I think it's a completely different conversation.
Depends on what the roster settings are, right? Like, 25 bench. Different conversation than some of the ones we've been in. 35 bench. Like in those, I'm still rostering fucking Isaiah Davis. What's his path to playing time?
Well, that's fine. I think here's the other thing with Bryce to have the conversation for. I think, at least for me, while I'm also not doing it, probably a rebuilder, I'm definitely going to be open to it. You'd be stupid not to, just because you can get him with a pick, or he can be a part of a flexible package. Period. The payoff is also different in trades, meaning the startup cost is fucking. There's some guys that are dead in startup. The payoff of like when he gets to your point, those guys were dead free. Andy Dalton carried no dynasty value. He's supposed to be on the waiver wire. Now he has a opportunity and he gets, you get a free pick out of it. Great. Bryce Young, if you held him and starts, I'll tell you what the people aren't doing is when Bryce Young gets the starting job, selling him for a third and thinking they won something, right? Like you got to find a way to get someone to pay for Bryce when they'll pay a third for Dalton. You're streaming fucking cheap ass quarterbacks. You don't give a fuck about paying, because if you get him for a third right now, you're gonna want to sell him at a minimum for a second. And most people are like, nah, he's a starter now. That's what you've been holding for. So I think I'm not even saying that we should have an answer, because this is evolving, and that's the way the game is. It's always evolving. You always have to think about strategy. But I think right now, for me, and in general, the conversation should be, if we're going to talk about buying them, there needs to be an escape strategy, because I think the old days of he's a starting quarterback, you're going to pay for him, it's not always the same. Like, it's just the current market is not reflective of just moving starting quarterbacks anymore. So if one dies, buy more for sure. I'm with you on that. But there's also teams where it's like, I can't, not only can I not buy more, I got to get off of some of these.
Yeah. I think it just depends on your league type concept, right? If it's the line of league, it doesn't fucking matter. Pay the third on a rebuilder. You don't need a fucking escape strategy, because the minute he fucking starts another game, you're cashing out at equal value. At worst.
He may not ever start another game, though. He
Really?
probably will. He probably will, but he may not. I mean, did Rosen? Like, I don't know that he's Rosen bad. I'm just saying Trey Lance hasn't. I mean, there's bad scenarios too.
He's starting another fucking game.
All right. Well, there you have it. This was a good one. This was a good one, I think. Very good. And let us know in the comments what you are going to do if you have any quarterbacks that are burning holes in your rosters, and if you are buying Bryce Young or not. And also, like, I think one last thing I'll say about it is, if you have Bryce and at this point you're trying to sell, obviously you're trying to liquidate. I don't think you're fooling anybody. I think that's partly why the prices are so cheap. Like, it's what makes that's what makes it such a hard discussion, because most people aren't in the buyer's market, man. Like, so what are you going to sell for? That's what makes it hard. But I think that's part of the risk of carrying all those quarterbacks too. If they go to zero in a heartbeat. But if Justin Fields gets a job again, that's the difference with Fields and Bryce, though. That's why I don't know that Bryce I haven't seen enough from him to where I'm confident that, like, now I'm really going to, like, set him and forget it. With Fields, anytime he's starting, I don't even care where it is. Fuck it. Like, put him in the lineup. This dude could go for 200 yards on the ground. So Bryce's overall talent I've yet to see on the field. Anyway, appreciate everyone tapping in. We will be back here, same time, same place, for week 3 in the books. The season's already crazy. The first 2 weeks, I can't still wrap my head around a lot of the shit that's happened, man. Jordan Mason, we didn't even talk about him. This stock, this meme, this fucking Dogecoin is. Have you seen it lately?
It's ridiculous. It's going to the moon.
Buddy, you can trade Jordan Mason right now if you wanted to. You don't have to. I mean, he could end up just being a cheat code and like a top 10 running back. But you can trade him for legit ass fucking receivers.
Good ones. Real good ones. Unless you're in that fantasy turf war league that I'm in. Then see, people just send you bullshit.
What are we talking about?
Quentin Johnston.
Nice. The resurgence of Quentin Johnston is back.
Yeah, fucking Josh Palmer. Like, I want either of those. Fuck out of here. It's a redraft league, man. Fucking get bet.
Yeah, in redraft, I have a lot of reason to sell. Fantasy Plumber, we'll see you back here, same time, same place next week for the AMA. We are out of this thing. Peace.